How do you put this behind you and move forward? That's something I ask each missing person family, because I don't understand how you can do that.
I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I want some type of closure. I want him to be found.
One of the most confusing and frustrating investigations by law enforcement is related to people who disappear in highly rural locations, forests, plains, deserts, and regions with few residences. These cases offer no witnesses, few clues, and a strange lack of evidence. Where are these people? How did they disappear without leaving a scent trail, no tracks, and a distinct lack of physical evidence? The investigator is left with a distraught family grieving about a missing loved one, wanting them found, where many times the search area is the size of a national forest. My name is David Politis. I'm a former San Jose police officer who has worked complex and long-term investigations while being assigned to vice intelligence, street crimes, SWAT, and various detective roles. I'm a best-selling author investigating missing people in national parks, forests, and rural locations for over 20 years. The investigative process has led me to interview incredible witnesses that tell a fantastic story that challenges the investigative protocols every detective follows. We are staring at unconventional possibilities supported by witnesses, video, and most recently, our own government. The human species has been walking the earth for thousands of years, hunting, gathering, and observing. From the moment we left our cave, we have looked to the skies in amazement and wonder about unidentified objects. In just the last 100 plus years, we have left the ground and flown into the clouds with a different perspective about our life in this world. We've continued to be amazed and perplexed by flying objects that have capabilities far beyond what our government says is ours. Are these craft piloted by entities that have our best interests? Is our planet merely the ant farm for complex societies light years from Earth? Could it be we offer other worlds new DNA that's needed to refurbish their existence? Or are they driven by a plan that is so far beyond our capability to comprehend that the human mind isn't programmed to accept and live with the consequences? Join me on a fact-finding journey that has never been disclosed. Keep an open mind on the possibilities and a warm and compassionate heart for the missing.
In multiple missing 411 books, it looks like people are snatched out of off the ground, and then some of them are dropped back into these odd locations, the little kids that are suddenly miles and miles away. It seems like, I know you don't want to commit to any particular explanation because you don't have enough evidence to point to one in particular, but some of the stuff certainly ventures into the area of the paranormal. And one of the stories that I was able to break earlier this year was about Skinwalker Ranch, that a program that had been created by the Pentagon to look at UFOs also went much further, that it studied we would call paranormal events, unexplained mysteries at places like Skinwalker Ranch and elsewhere. And earlier this year, I was invited to go back by Senator Harry Reid to meet with some people whose names I cannot make public. One of these guys pulls me aside, and then he said, you know, we think that guy Dave Politis, that his mystery with these missing people might be related to the phenomena at the ranch. But the idea that the phenomena that's been seen there, which is sometimes playful and sometimes dangerous, might be related to yours, startled me. And I don't know how you react to that, but maybe it makes you uncomfortable being associated with anything as weird as that, but your stuff's pretty weird too.
So after reviewing several thousand missing person cases, several distinct facts started to come up, and I started to put piles of these reports in different areas of my room that indicated certain points of importance. And after a while, I started to call these profile points. As an example, in 97% of the cases that I research, one of the profile points is that canines brought to the scene can't pick up a scent trail. They bring trackers to the scene, and they can't find tracks leaving the location that the person was last seen at. So the number one profile point in our work is lack of scent trail. Some of the most common profile points would be weather-related issues, either just as the person disappears or just after they're missing, or when the search starts, there's a weather incident that inhibits the searcher's ability to find the individual. Another one is the victim found in an area that was previously searched. Oftentimes, an area will be searched 5, 6, 7 times. And then all of a sudden, when they're getting ready to pull out and the search and rescue says we give up, they find the person in the middle of the area that had been searched many, many times. Oftentimes when somebody goes missing, they go missing in an area near water or boulders or swamps and bogs. And once these profile points were established, and this is after reading thousands of reports, I started to document them and say, okay, if these are going to be the profile points that we use moving forward, then these will be the ones that we have to look for in the reports as they come in. This has become the overshadowing criteria for a missing 411 case. And in this instance, we're in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we're researching a case of a missing hunter, someone who had visited the same location 20 times in 20 years. It's a location that he and his wife have come to many times. In this instance, he came out alone. He brought his dogs, his camper, and his raft, do a little fishing, sightseeing, and just relaxing in nature. And he disappeared on the shores of Harrison Lake, and we still don't know what really happened to Ray Salmon.
Ray was an outdoor camper, hunter, fisherman. Grew up in the woods, Northern Ontario. Very experienced and safe outdoorsman. 32 years we were married, together for about a year and a half before that. He would have rather gone hunting, camping with me than with anyone else. He was always telling me that, but I'm a fair weather camper. I would not have been out in the bush if it wasn't for Ray. Ray made it wonderful.
At the time I met him, he was about 65, just recently retired. He worked for Rogers Sugar in Vancouver as chief maintenance man. He was empathetic. He was concerned about what you felt about something, which is rare today. And I liked that. I enjoyed his company. He's the type of guy who's from the old school. He had this adventurous spirit. He had a map of British Columbia in a booklet form. Very seldom would I find a blank page, part of this province that Ray hadn't visited.
So he drove up to Harrison Lake from your home here.
Right.
In a truck with a camper.
Right.
And what else did he have with him?
A fridge, a furnace, air conditioner, a few rifles, and maybe a couple pistols with him. And he took his Zodiac with him, and a motor on the Zodiac. He had a complete life jacket, good flotation device. So fully equipped. He had the 2 dogs, and if anything comes around, they would bark.
He'd been to this spot many times before.
Many times, because you can get there. When he was still working, he could go Friday after work and get there and set up camp, and been with him a couple of times. We've gone for a week at a time.
And again, for clarity, he doesn't go and just sit at his camper all day.
No.
He's out going over the hillsides, walking around. So he's been all through the mountainsides in this area many times in the past.
Correct.
He says, oh yeah, I'm gonna camp down by the lake in this certain spot. So he says, I gotta get going now because I gotta set up camp before dark. That's the last time I seen him. We were planning to go out up the lake and look for old gold mines. He says, I'll come down in the Zodiac and pick you up on Monday morning. On Sunday afternoon, I was doing some repair work on a trailer up here, and we heard 3 gunshots.